Hello everyone, this is Cheetahman91 and this is part 2 of my Criterion collection video. And picking up where we left off, we have from 1947, Nightmare Alley, which is a film noir. Yeah, sort of one of those like A-list noirs from that era, big budget, you know what I mean, but yeah, this is basically about the rise and fall of a carnival barker, and yeah, this one's pretty good, honestly. Like, I don't know. Like, really, the one thing that works is if the main character is just like a piece of shit. And, film noir, that's one of those genres where, having like characters with redeeming qualities can work. Characters you can't root for. I mean, you can't root for this guy. Like, he's fucking terrible, but that's okay. Like I said, in this genre, you don't have to have good guys. Anyways, yeah, great movie. Yeah, I know there's the remake too. Can't compare it to that. I haven't seen it. I've heard it's not as good, but I don't know. I know a lot of people like Del Toro. Like he's the one that directed the remake and whatnot. But yeah, I would definitely recommend this great noir. This is a pretty recent one. This release it came out last year, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, I want to keep this moving. So next up from 1950. Oh yeah, moving on to another decade, past the 40s, we have Night in the City. This is yet another film noir. This was actually directed by the guy Jules Dassin. This is the last film he made for a major Hollywood studio before he was blacklisted from Hollywood because I think he had like ties. I can't remember if he was a communist or if he was part of like the Communist Party, or if he had like ties with communists. But yeah, he was like exiled from America, and like after this movie, he basically did like a bunch of foreign stuff like France and whatnot. Anyways, this film is about a like this fella right here is trying to yeah, wants to become a wrestling manager. Of course, unfortunately, to like get ahead, he has to get involved with the London underworld. That's where the movie takes place, and yeah, that it doesn't go, about as well as you would expect. Yeah, this is another great film. Richard Widmark, like the main actor, he's like pretty good fit for these noirs, in my opinion. We'll be seeing another movie that he was in, like here in a minute. But yeah, another great movie. Not quite as good as Nightmare Alley, but I would check it out. This one actually comes with two versions of the film. Here, we'll zoom it in. Oop, there's my shadow. It's got the British version and the American. From what I've heard, the American version is superior. That's the one that I've seen. And next up, we have a Western. This is from 1950. This is The Gunfighter. This one's pretty good. This is like one of those like adult westerns. Basically, the plot is about this cowboy. He's not even like a cowboy, like just a gunslinger who comes back to like his old flame or whatever. But he wants to be left alone. But he's such a good well-known gunslinger that everyone wants to basically just like have it out with him. That's what the film's like basically all about. It's really good. Not really an action-packed film. Like I said, it's more of like an adult psychological drama. But yeah, it's fantastic. Also makes great use of deep focus. If you don't know what that is, that's where like everything in the shot is in focus. I guess that's the best way to describe it. So yeah, great cinematography, great performances, just yeah, great western, just in general. I guess we'll look at the back of it. I guess if you want to read that and pause it, I'll try and do that for the rest of these two. Oh, here's a good one. This is from 1953. We have The War of the Worlds. Yeah, not the Spielberg film. This is the original. Yep, the one George Powell, produced by George Powell, and I think directed by Byron Haskin. I mean, what's it to say about this film? Probably one of the most famous, sci-fi movies. Oh, that's my foot. For the 1950s. Just in my opinion, the best special effects from the 1950s, except for maybe When Worlds Collide. Yeah, I guess who produced that? Yeah, George Powell. But yeah, I mean everything's so iconic. I mean the Martians are iconic. Like the sound effects are iconic. I mean, really the only flaw of this film is that the acting is decent, but that's how 50 sci-fi is. This is before they really get big name actors. I mean, this is more about the special effects. And the visual effects, have held up extremely well in my opinion. Like, this is like top 550 sci-fi, folks. I mean, it's that good. Like, it's fucking great. Not quite as good as something like Body Snatchers or The Day the Earth Stood Still, but still, it's still highly, highly recommended in my opinion. And next up, we have another noir. This time it's Pick Up on South Street. Yep. This is sort of a Cold War theme noir. Because I remember, like, this guy right here, Richard Widmark's character, basically, steal something from a woman, and it's like, I think it's like microfilm. That's what the film's all about. Like the cops are trying to get the microfilm, the double agents are trying to get the microfilm, and Widmark's just sort of stuck in the middle. Yeah, this one's got really good dialogue. That's like the one thing that I would get out of it. Some great characters. They're mostly pretty terrible, but once again, you don't really need good characters for a noir to work. But yeah, the dialogue is just it's fantastic, which for that really helps for a noir. Plus the plot's pretty decent too. You know, unlike a lot of other noirs, it's pretty easy to follow and whatnot. So yeah, this one's definitely recommended if you haven't seen it. Not super well known, but that's okay. A hidden gem if there ever was one. Oh, now we have another hidden gem. This is from 1956. This is the Western Jubal, and this is also our first film that was done in widescreen. This was done in the CinemaScope process, I think, if I'm not mistaken. What was it? Like 2.55 by 1? Yeah, it's like ultra widescreen, and it takes advantage of it. I mean, this film looks great, as you expect it would. Like westerns, in my opinion, are one of those genres that really benefits from being in widescreen and in color as well. Just so you can take in all the great vistas and landscapes. But anyways, this film, it's sort of like, I think this is like based off like Shakespeare play. I don't know. It's about like a love triangle. Once again, another adult western. Yeah, it's really just top notch stuff in my opinion. Just highly recommended. And moving on, we have a pretty well known film, probably the most like well known that I have so far, other than War of the Worlds, and that is 1959, Some Like It Hot, by Billy Wilder. We'll be seeing more of him in later uploads. One of my favorite, directors especially from classic Hollywood. And yeah, I think y'all know what this movie's all about. I mean, you've probably seen it before. Yeah, just a great movie. I mean, for a romantic comedy, probably the best in my opinion. Like it really just hits all the marks. Just very funny, which is what you would hope it would be. Yeah, can't recommend this one enough. It's Some Like It Hot. I'm going to move on because, like I said, y'all already know about that one. Let's be for real. And moving on from 1962, you having to look at the cases now. I want to get the dates right. We have John Frankenheimer's The Manchurian Candidate. Yeah, really, really good political thriller. Obviously, this one got a remake in the 2000s with, I think, wasn't it Denzel Washington? But yeah, this is the one with Angela Lansbury and Frank Sinatra. Like I said, a great Cold War thriller. The only thing is that it does get pretty slow in places, very dialogue heavy, so a lot of modern audiences may find this one a bit boring, but I don't know. I really enjoy it. It's a pretty interesting, piece of Cold War history, I guess. I don't know. I enjoy stuff like this. Like I said, definitely recommended. Got memorable characters, just a memorable plot. Yeah, can't recommend it. Pretty damn good. Well, here we have another classic. We have 1963's The Great Escape. The World War II film with just like directed by John Sturges with a pretty loaded cast for the time. A lot of like regulars. Got who's credited on here. Yeah, obviously McQueen. Yep, James Garner's credited. Richard Attenborough and Donald Pleasance and Charles Bronson are in this as well. I think isn't James Coburn in this too? I can't remember, but yeah, it's The Great Escape based off a true story. Once again, like really, y'all probably seen this one or heard of it. This is one you'd see on TV a lot. One that your dad's probably seen before. As far as like World War II films, like this is gonna be one of the best, like top 5 easily. Just great stuff, great performances, great soundtrack, film score, whatever, just more great stuff. And here we have an interesting one, and I'll explain why in a minute. Also, from 1963, we have Stanley Kramer's It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, the extremely long comedy with the massive ensemble cast of mostly people that were bigger and that were more famous in television over movies, but yeah. Also loaded with cameos, a lot of elaborate stunt work. Yeah, the reason why this film is interesting is there's actually 2 versions of this movie. You have the original, you have the general release version, which is around 163 minutes. But you also have a 197-minute version, which that's like a reconstruction of the original release. Now then, I'll say this: that is not worth watching unless you're a big fan of this movie, because yeah, a lot of the found footage has not been restored. I think like some of it looks like it came off a freaking like Japanese laser disc or something. Plus, other parts of the film have still images, because they have like the soundtrack, but they don't have like any footage to go along with it. But that's only for a couple parts. I know it's most famously used. The most notable part is whenever the Buster Keaton cameo. Like they couldn't find that, so they had to like deal with still images. But yeah, this is a great comedy. I'm glad I saw this. Was able to find the reason why I got this was so I could see the reconstructed version. Yeah, it's really amazing how butchered and hacked up the general release was, but yeah, it still works. I mean, that's pretty rare, but credit to the editor. They did an incredible job when this film came out. Anyways, we're running out of time. Well, we got enough time for hopefully these last three. Next up, we have Charade. This is a also from 1963, directed by Stanley Donen. This is a thriller, it's basically just an Alfred Hitchcock thriller that he didn't direct, if that makes any sense. Hitchcockian in nature. This is a great film, great chemistry between the two leads. Just great plot. Can't recommend this one enough. It certainly feels like something Hitchcock would make. He's probably something he would be proud of. Yeah, good stuff. Yep. And next up we have here's a good one. We got some Kubrick. Yep, good old Dr. Strangelove, which with a nice case. And one of these days I have to show the I don't have time, but the supplemental material for this is just fantastic. Like I said, I may have to post another video about this one soon. But yeah, this is just a great comedy. But y'all probably heard of this one too, I mean, it's Dr. Strangelove. I mean, pretty famous comedy. I'm sorry I'm not really getting into the plot, but I don't know. I'm kind of running out of time here. You can just look it up on, I guess, Wikipedia or something, or IMDb. I mean, come on, though. It's Dr. Strangelove. I mean, Peter Sellers is in top form. I mean, really every one of his movies in top form. My only complaint is that a lot of the scenes inside of the bomber plane are kind of dull, in my opinion. Not really all that funny. I get why they're there, but I wanted more silly stuff, But yeah, I just can't recommend another great film comedy. And I guess we'll save, last but not least, we have Repulsion by, pretty infamous director. Yeah. If just look him up if you don't know who he is, old Polanski. This is a fascinating film. This is a horror film, basically about a woman who pretty much has a mental breakdown in her apartment. Like, it's hard to watch, but no, not really. It's like hard to it's like disturbing, but it's hard to keep your eyes off of it or whatever. Just a great film, great performance by the lead. Just, yeah, like I said, very disturbing in nature. So not for everyone, but I don't know. I really enjoyed this. It's a great horror film. Just, yeah, check it out. And yeah, that's going to do it for part 2 of this, because I'm running out of time. So yeah, thank you for watching, and next time we'll get to part 3 and I'll finish these up.